Hello to all my friends out there. So, yesterday I attempted to work, but the thrift store was closed. I don't have a big gulp because McDonald's, the lobby was closed yesterday and today, and I thought, I'm not waiting in line in drive-through 10 minutes to get a Coke. I do it sometimes, but I don't like to because it wastes my gas. And so I bought my soda at Walgreens, which cost me $2. So in 2 days, I spent $4 for 2 sodas rather than 4 sodas for $4. So that's not good. Okay, I heard something and I think there's some credence to this and it's bad. Okay, China is doing wonderful, but the general standard of living for the people has gone down really, really low. Furthermore, it's only fair that the rest of the world should follow suit. So this like global thing and we're all one happy family. Okay, China has devastated their people, so now the whole world should join? And I thought, you know, if you know something's coming, let's say we know that in some people's minds, it would be just fine if the American people's standard of living would suffer as well. So we went through what you need is food, water, and a clean, dry place to sleep. So you might be thinking, well, that could never happen. Well, if we hit a depression, it might. I worked in low-end shops, so I have some concept of what a lower standard of living means to Asian cultures and to various cultures. They try to find them jobs, and so one of the jobs they would find them is hairstylist. And actually, that is not an easy way. It is a job, but it's not an easy way to earn a living. Like me, I work from 8 to 8. I mean, I can't tell you. My life is a blur. I don't remember it. My dad told me not to do that. But I got my son raised good, and that's all that counts to me. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to say, okay, it appears that our stores don't want to stock us up stuff we need. Like when I went to get the trim. That's okay. Christmas tree trim is non-essential. That almost drove me nuts. Those are 2 of the worst looking trees I've ever generated in my life. I thought I could find trim and redo them, you know, after the fact. And I thought, oh, that's crazy. Okay, so a lot of American women are going, what? So one of the things I'm shopping for is a certain mechanical pencil I like. I go, oh yeah, they will consider that as non-essential. And somehow I have broken all mine. So I'm going to buy a whole bunch. So I'm stocking up on stuff I know that they're likely to deem non-essential. That's bad enough. But I remember when I was a kid, eat all your food. They're starving children in China. And so, you know, I don't know if I was the only kind of kid. And I go, well, I don't want to eat that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, it is possibly deemed by the powers that be that we don't need such a high standard of living, right? So we're going to take measures, you know, to control it ourselves before things get drastic. Number 1, do not waste food no matter what. Now, in China, where things are bad, you know, they had a government thing, don't waste food. But so last night, you know, I was eating my leftover enchiladas. Those were good. I wasn't suffering one single bit. In fact, I'm thinking about trying to come up with some kind of meals that the leftovers are not. I mean, just doing that once a week is really going to save money. So now there's 6 days left of the month. and I came up with 6 meals, and I cooked one last night. I used my leftover bread that I bought marked down from Walmart. I bought eggs at Aldi's, and I have powdered milk in the freezer, or in the stockpile, all times. So, pancakes and eggs, 6 days, so 6 cheap meals. French toast and eggs, bean and cheese burritos. I bought a can of beans. You saw them marked down because they were dented cans. Tuna sandwich and boiled eggs. I have tuna in the stockpile. I have, boiled eggs. Bacon, gravy, and biscuits or bread. Chicken with rice and potatoes. So that's six cheap meals. Here it is. You want to take a screenshot. And then just cook enough food and don't waste any. So if you guys saw the photo, this really kind of makes me crack up. On Christmas, my son insisted on making my plate, and he made my plate of food exactly like I used to make his. So the kids are taking it all in. Do not eat out no matter what. Just get used to being thrifty and saying frugality is survival. Well, Rhoda, that is really mean. Yeah, that's true. But if you eat out, even a hamburger, a fry, and a Coke is $9. So why? What can we buy? We can go to Dollar Tree. We can buy a $1 package of eggs, a can of refried beans, a can of evaporated milk. If you don't have cheese, use a little milk in your beans. A loaf of bread, a package of bologna, a box of cereal, a frozen hamburger, a frozen chicken sandwich, and a bag of chips for $9. So, just get used to it now. I won't be spending any money. I don't want to lower my standard of living. I don't want to live like China. No, thank you. Okay, for $9, you can buy a can of tuna, a bag of chips. I started doing the tuna and chip things after I saw this guy, this street guy, young, eating that. And I thought, yeah, that would work. I started buying better tuna, too, in case I ever have to eat it. A can of soup, a $1 frozen pizza. I get good ones they have them at Dollar Tree, but Walmart. A loaf of bread, a small peanut butter. Oh, and guess what I wasn't able to find anymore is those little cans of, or little jars of peanut butter. Now they have the little ones, it's not as much. A can of evaporated milk, 1 Vienna sausage, 1 potted meat. Those are 50 cents each. And a box of cereal. This is why some people are going to do so much better in this recession that's coming. Now, another thing is you're just going to make yourself a pan of soup. Soup and bread. And when I eat down my bread, I'm going to just start making my bread. It's cheaper. Pea soup, go to my Twitter. Corn chowder, potato soup, clam chowder, oyster stew, and vegetable soup. Here it is. Once a week, eat it for lunch. I was working with this guy from Iraq, and he came riding up in his bike, and he said, "Are you hiring?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I have 5 kids." So I call my boss. "There's a barber here looking for a job, and he has 5 kids. Only problem is no license." She hired him, and I let him work there, and I was the only one that had a license. So it was super scary, and I would just pray to God every single night and say, God, he has 5 kids. Please help us. Okay, the guy was a smarty. They all are. In my country, I was rich. Yeah, right. But one of the things he got was, at the food bank, he got soup and vegetables. And he mixed it all together and he ate it. And I said, why don't you just heat your gravy, because we had a microwave, and eat some bread with it. And then, maybe heat your vegetables. Nah, but really, your mixed vegetables are good for a little pan of vegetable soup, and your Your gravy is good if you have some meat, some vegetables, and some potatoes and gravy. So, you know, and then, you know, he worked there for a while. And when he started getting a clientele, he was leaving my boss and she really needed the money. And I go, how can you do this to so-and-so? And he goes, it is my right. Here he had been working for God knows how long under my license. My butt was in the sling. And no gratitude towards the lady that hired him. So, and I saw this many times in these shops where they were living lowly. So, if you are fortunate enough to get a can of mixed vegetables, don't just blow your mixed vegetables up. Make some meat and some rice and some mixed vegetables. You know, that's a whole meal for your family. Okay, now by stockpiling potatoes, you can make hash browns, mashed potatoes. I just buy 10 pounds. I have potatoes at all times. Baked potatoes, potato soup, fried potatoes, roasted potatoes. And then if you make beef stew, then you have your mixed vegetables, you have your potatoes, you have your hamburger. You can make a nice hamburger stew, chicken stew. Okay, now the other thing you want, and you're not going to go hungry. So like if you have some meal and you have a nice big piece of bread and butter on the side and some milk, it's going to be so much better. So bread and milk, how I make that is I tear the bread up, I put milk and sugar on it and I eat it. Bread and gravy, sandwiches, French toast, milk toast, croutons, and bread and cheese. So here is, so, you know, it's going to really help you if you make sure you have potatoes and bread, especially at the end of the month. Okay, now the other thing is rice. So you have potatoes, you have mixed vegetables, you have gravy, and if you make a pile of rice, you have rice and gravy and then your mixed vegetables, and why can't you have a hot dog? It's going to be much better, you know? Okay, rice milk. You always want to keep it in mind that the water that's generated from your rice can be used like milk. It's not as good as cow's milk, but it is milk-like. Say if you had your bread with some rice milk and sugar. So rice milk, stir fry. Then you would use your mixed vegetables to make a big pan of stir fry. You wouldn't just wolf them down for lunch. I couldn't believe this guy. Rice and milk, same thing like the rice with milk and sugar, rice and gravy, rice pudding, and I just cook the rice down, and you know, when it's almost cooked down, you can either add evaporated milk or you can make coffee creamer, 1 cup water, 1 water and 1/3 cup coffee creamer, and put that on your rice and cook it down. And if you have a little package of raisins, rice pudding, rice and beans. So bread, rice and potatoes. When you go to the store, you're doing your grocery shopping, these are some of the first things that's going to help you. If you go to a food bank and they give you canned food, great. Okay, beans. Okay. All my, hello, all the 100 followers I just got, they come and go. They're like the guy in the beauty shop. The guy was a dick. Okay, now, there was a polygamy compound in Mexico. And a Mormon girl went down there and she got married, of course, probably to some guy who had 10 wives, who knows, but she was a young girl and she had a daughter, and there was no work and there was no food. Now, this is a bad story, and this has happened. She's the same age as I am. Her husband came to America to try and find work, and she was left down there with her little girl. And one day, an old man came up to her and said, "Ma'am, your little girl is starving." And he gave her a bag of beans, a bag of rice, and some vegetables and told her to plant some vegetables. And she survived, and she probably wouldn't have. Now, I'm actually starting to see starvation around. You know, I can see it in the eyes. I was a nurse. I didn't recognize it until I saw it. I thought it was their prescription drugs or drugs. Until I saw it on this one guy who was trying to help. So once you've seen starvation, once you can recognize starvation, you might be seeing it around in the USA. So beans. So you have beans, vegetables, and rice. So you don't want to be blowing your vegetables off. Okay, bean and bacon soup with ham, baked beans. Baked beans is really good. Oh, I found my baked bean recipe. Refried beans. Don't ever forget this recipe. One of my customers worked for FEMA. And so they would go into disaster areas, yes, in the USA. And they would bring food, and it was beans with olive oil and water and salt and pepper. Don't ever forget that. And then what you can do in a lot of your recipes, I think I just did it a couple days ago. You have half beans, half meat. So you're stretching your meat. Or, you know, like in your pasta salad, you can add a big can of chickpeas. So here's beans. So rice and beans. You're going to make sure you can get all these at the Dollar Tree. One of the problems is milk and butter. I switched to butter. That's why I bought the butter at Aldi's. If we're going to get into some kind of like, you know, depressed condition, you want bread, butter, and milk. You do not, if you're old, you need it. If you need that fat, and if you have kids, your kids are not going to starve. Okay, now, for lunch, remember the guy who was starving? A sandwich, preferably meat and cheese. So stockpile a little bologna and some cheese, a small fruit, and a small salad. So here we go with that. I want to get my stuff out there. Do I think everything is A-okay? No. At the beginning of the month, buy 60 eggs. I started doing that, and I use them up. That's why I made my eggs and French toast last night. Do not buy food at full price if you can avoid it. Just start doing this cheap stuff now. Find things you can live with that are painlessly cheap. Buy markdown food. It takes a little practice, but now I know at that Walmart over there, I usually can get bread and donuts. I don't need donuts, but I like donuts with my tea. Smart and Final, I can get meat marked down. At the 99-cent store, I got 5 cans of food for 50 cents each. I got vegetarian, yesterday, vegetarian refried beans, rice, and vegetables, not vegetables and gravy. But if you were going to eat that, you would heat your gravy, you would put it on top of your bread. We had bread across the street, 20 cents, and heat your vegetables. Okay, so buy markdown food that's really going to help you. Okay, now find 50-cent food. Yeah, there's no food for 50 cents. Well, actually there is. And when you start finding that food habitually at 50 cents, it's really going to save you. Okay, so you can find tomato soup, cream of mushroom, or cream of chicken at Aldi's or Walmart. Also, tuna is just a few cents more than 50 cents. Tuna and chips. Eat it, voila. Bread, 50 cents if you buy it marked down. Vienna sausages and potted meat. Then you have your bread and you put your potted meat on your bread, or your Vienna sausages, you fry them with some eggs, or you put them in your top ramen. None of this at the end of the month. I have tuna with no bread. No, you're not going to run out of money anymore. Okay, vegetables are 50 cents at Aldi's and at Walmart. And you want to stockpile that because you need beans, rice, and vegetables, especially tomatoes. Budding lunch meat, that's a little bit more than 50 cents a package. Hard to find now. Bananas, 2 for 50 cents. And yesterday you saw me, I bought a Caesar salad, a bag. It comes with lettuce, cheese, and salad dressing for 50 cents. So if you eat half one day, like if you were really, really hungry, and half the next day, that'd be 25 cents. Okay, I have located 25-cent soda pop. Tastes like crap, but it's cheap. And when I find it, I buy it all. And I just pile it in the house, and when, you know, I'm home and I want a Coke, $2, forget it. Okay, so now one more little thing, you guys. I don't want my followers starving. Learn how to make gravy. I mean, the good stuff. The canned stuff is okay, but, you know, why even, you know, eat that stuff? If you get it at the food bank, eat it. Yeah. What I usually do with canned gravy is, and this is good, I make toast, I put some slices of bread, and then I put some canned gravy. Yes. But homemade is much better. Macaroni and cheese. Okay, once you learn how to make that, and I've made it 100 times on my channel, all you do is you make a white gravy. You just take some margarine and you melt it and you sprinkle some butter on it, or it's better if it's butter. If we're going to move into this like worried about starvation thing, I'd say go to butter. You can put that in your beans too, like your lima beans. Lima beans are expensive. If you're broke, go for those pinto beans, the big 2-pound bags for $1. But anyway, you melt your cheese and you put butter and you stir it around just to get the raw taste out of your flour, and you add milk, but you have powdered milk in your stockpile, and you make yourself some gravy and you put your cheese in it. You don't just melt your whole tube of Velveeta cheese and then the next day you don't have any cheese, and then you put your macaroni in it, and you can add vegetables to it, your mixed vegetables, your tuna, you know. Okay, and then once you know how to make the white gravy, then you can make tuna casserole with it. Or you can put chipped beef in it. You can do all kinds of things. You can have toast with eggs and your white gravy. You can make bacon gravy and biscuits. So gravy, macaroni and cheese, and tuna casserole. So I think that's enough. The whole world adjusting to China, forget it. That's nonsense. And if you need food, get all the food you can now at the food bank. And then go to Homestead Tessie Mobile Home Living. I think she changed it to Frugal Mobile Home. And learn how she does the dehydrating and the canning. And if you can't eat everything, blanch your vegetables and freeze them. Freeze all of your leftovers. Okay, you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe, and God bless you all.